Who is possible?
Hi, good morning, brother. Sisters. Morning, Sister Lily.
Good morning, Brother Robert. Okay. I shall start now.
Now it's live in Johor.
Good.
Good. You're staying in which part of Johor?
Brother Robert, it's already live streaming.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'll start now.
Sure.
Warm welcome to Abode Masters, Hualien Dharma team, and brothers and sisters around the globe to Saturday Hualien Dharma Talk. Let us start the session for today. Today I would like to share a short aspect from Master Ching's speech. Pulling every bit of love to contribute from you. Wherever there is suffering in any part of the world, it will provide relief upon hearing the cries of suffering. It is not so easy to provide assistance widely around the world. More manpower is needed so that we will have the strength to do that. Besides manpower, more importantly, we need loving hearts, pulling every bit of love and making use of such power, contributing promptly to create blessings for the world. Grateful to Master Su Ching. Now let us send our sincere prayers into the 10 directions. May the Sahara land be free from disaster and peace prevails in the world. Let us sing the prayer song with sincere piousness.
In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. All my heart is filled with sincere prayer. From all corners of the world, let us join our hearts and pray for a world of harmony and peace. From my heart, I pray. May we
注意动手，
join now
合伙啦！希望咱会当发大希望，立大愿啦！自利利他，自觉觉他，这是咱修行者应该。
Spread the seeds of great love, nurture wisdom evermore. Let us fill the world with hope. In my heart,
May all minds be purified. May there be peace in the community. May there be no disasters in this world. Now let us pray together for universal love and blessing. With loving respect, gratitude, and confidence, let us wish every person in our lives a healthy body, an enlightened mind, and a total fulfillment in universal love. Now let us expand this consciousness to include every person in the world, every being in the universe. Let our unified love make this wonderful world even better. Let us all immerse ourselves in the joyful embrace of universal love. Before we hear the wonderful sharing, let us invite our Master to lead us in paying homage to the Triple Gem. Let us pay our respect for these teachings and explanations to the Buddha and Master Cheng Yuan by making 3 sincere bows. Please rise, come together. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. And the bow to our beloved Master to present us today. Okay, today we have Brother Poh Ru and Sister Lisa who will be sharing with us on the regardless the height of the mountain or the depth of the water, we will always cross over with you. And after that, we have Brother Johnson Kao who will be sharing with us the Sending Love to Turkey. Okay, before that, we have Sister Su Ching who will be sharing with us the weekly summary. Sister Su Ching, over to you. Welcome.
Sister Lily. My slides are up. Okay, last week, we had Brother Chin on chapter 10 on the Lotus Sutra, which is deep and meaningful, presenting predictions from past to future true. It takes affinity to enter the path and train the mind, grow in worthiness and with exemplariness to propagate joy and being kind. One's words and actions must be virtuous and pure, for bad behavior is a disparagement to the teachings for sure. Ordinariness in relationships remain humble and gentle, teach with patience and mindfulness, guiding others with example. The Lotus Sutra is hard to believe and comprehend, but through it we can attain wisdom that never ends. Seeking the fragrance of the principles of Buddhahood is like digging a well on a high plateau, attaining the 3 wisdoms of perfect contemplation to grow. Benefit yourself and others, taking compassion, gentleness, and patience, emptiness in all phenomenon, and spread joy with resilience. And we had the 3 sisters from UK. In the land of York, where travelers roam, 3 sisters shared stories of visits to travelers' homes. Sister Sin Ling, with heart so pure, saw children grow from year to year of that she's sure. With the Equality Act, the travelers are protected against race discrimination, but with Tzu Chi volunteers, they are respected. Through the years, travelers remembered Tzu Chi's aid and warmth in reception their love conveyed. Sister Everly recalls the storm of 2015, flooding the land with a fierce scene. It was in York, a stranger led James to a flooded place where residents were anxious with worried face. With love and respect, the volunteers extended aid, not just with money, but gratitude also conveyed. Simple reminders like paper lanterns to guide their way, to the calm safety of the mind for another peaceful day. Sister Sue, with bamboo banks in hand, brought warmth to a forgotten, cold and frozen land. Gifts were given with hearts so kind, contributions made with a loving mind. The spirit of giving planted in the travelers' hearts, helping others, even a neighbor whose caravan departs. In the hearts of travelers, many seeds were sown, with When we give with love, we reap abundance and are never alone. Okay, that's it. Thank you for listening. I have to pass over to Brother Robert to introduce the next speaker. Kan'an for listening. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Kanan so much, Sister Su Ching, yeah, for the wonderful summary, and Kanan Sister Lily, yeah, for the great opening. Yeah, good morning, brothers and sisters. Yeah, hi, welcome, Brother Bao Ru. Brother Bao Ru and Sister Li Shan, I think will be our next sharer, and of course, both of them don't need no introduction. I think so both of them have been our regular sharer here in our this platform. In fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, Brother Bao Ru was here, I think last October, and he was sharing something very profound, if I can still recall, regarding the philosopher who discovered, more than 200 years ago. I think, I remember, the summary is that, our biggest challenge in life is that we always take immediate gains and not, we forget about the future gain. We stop believing. So I think I always remember Brother Bao Ru's word that we must have faith. Our faith must always be strong, so we can choose to believe in Master and Buddha. We can feel it. We are always humbled by Brother Bao Ru's sharing. And today, I think we will have another wonderful session. I think Brother Bao Ru presented a very beautiful song to Master in Hualien last October. So we will now hear from Brother Bao Ru and Sister Li Shan. Okay, over to you, Brother Bao Ru. Kanan.
Hey, Kanan, Brother Robert. Yeah, nice to meet all you again after last October. Huh? So glad that you still remember the philosopher. Yeah, we also grilled by Brother Joe.
Oh, okay.
He asked us so many questions that you have to be mindfulness to answer the questions to Brother Joe, no? It's kind of examinations.
Yeah, Brother Joe is very sharp.
Yeah. Good. Good to see everyone is fine, doing great after 5 months, almost 6 months. Today we so fortunate that we're able to go back to Hualien. That will be today sharings, just to give you some updates. And of course, we are asking to present a song, a new song. I always kind of anxious to go back to Hualien, especially during the Chinese New Year, because I have to write the songs. I'm not a professional, I'm an engineer. So to ask an engineer to write a song, that's a really a challenging one. But okay, let's see. Let me share some slide I prepared. Okay. So yeah, I make it the songs much more like the philosopher. We are all philosopher actually. If you join Tzu Chi, you're choosing another path to be a philosopher or practitioner, right? Seek through what's the meaning of life. How we live better. Right? I think this is very important question you should start to asking, right? If you're not ready, I think you will not going to join Tzu Chi. If your state of mind is not at reach point, we call yin yuan, to lead you to join Tzu Chi or to lead you seek a true meaning of life, then you will not encounter anything that beyond. So that's why that's a spirit part of the Tzu Chi in our life is very important part. I've been walking this path for more than let me count it, 25 years. Yeah, that's exactly 25 years, a quarter of a century, almost half my life, right now is in Tzu Chi. So some insightful, some learning, still humble to learn from master and from a lot of great Bodhisattva or senior volunteer. That's why actually you can conclude that inside this song, the title of the song, my experience or my outcomes, regardless what's in front of us, is this the how high is the mountain, how deep is the water, we will always cross over with you. The you over here, of course, is master, but the you over here is bigger you. Is everyone's, including all of us right now. So that's very important experience or importance that you learned across this path, because Tzu Chi walked the path of Buddhism in a hard way, Bodhisattva way. Bodhisattva way is a final stage to attain the Buddhahood. Now, if you still remember that there are 5 stages that Buddha during his teachings, right? 5 stages. Bodhisattva stage is the final stage, and you are so lucky that in this lifespan, you are attracted by Master Chen Yan, attracted by Tzu Chi, or attracted by Master, and Master directly bring us toward the final path, the final stage. Bodhisattva way is the hardest way to attain a Buddhahood, and is the final truth to attain the Buddhahood. So I call it a hard way. So I elaborate as a big mountain in front of you, or deep water under you. You have to find a way to cross it. Really, in my 25 years in Tzu Chi, I faced so many different heights of mountains, different depth of water, and I have to find my way to cultivate myself and bring myself into the next level in order to cross it. And I need someone to accompany me to cross it. Always accompany me. Accompany not give me strength, actually is give me a role model to cross together, learn it from each other, right? To cross it over. So that's actually the song. It includes all the spirit, the core value itself, and also how we manifest this core value in our daily life. Yeah. So regardless what's in front, we need to find a way to cross it. And you can see our greatest role model, Master. Masters is our greatest role model to elaborate this statement. So let's see how fortunate that I still find a way. But for the past 3 years, I lost for past 3 years, especially the pandemic hit a lot of people a lot, very hard. So I feel fortunate that I went back last January, this January, and finally I found a way home back again. So that's the most important message. If you want to take away home, like the last sharing philosopher 200 years ago, we all as a oneness. He already discovered that, feel that, and today I still the same. Regardless what kind of obstacle you are facing in Tzu Chi path, you have to find a way home. Okay, find a way home, and I'm doing that always going back to above. So above is my spiritual home. In kind of miracle ways, you always can find energy over there, can wash away a lot of afflictions. Yeah. So yeah, that's try to summarize what I'm going to share today, and hope you can work with me. So after 3 years, we are back home. And in order to back home to see master, we really need extra right effort and some luck. So because Taiwan is still not opening yet, so we need to quarantine in Taipei, self-quarantine. You still can go out, but you cannot participate in the big event. And then for safe, we quarantine extra day. And during the 9 days, you cannot be infected by coronavirus. So it's kind of challenges in the Taipei, this kind of city with high density. But we make through it, and then we go back to above. If not, somehow you got infected, but no symptom. You do not know, right? So you have to test it every day. If you got infected, you have to quarantine 7 days. Then it's gone. There's no way you're going back to above. They're going to have another few days to watch you until you got negative. So it's so cautious and not a really enjoyable experience. So that's why I put it over here. Right effort, the most sincere way, and some luck. That's why how you want to attain a truth of Dharma, or you want to see master, actually you have to provide your most sincere way. For example, you say that how we can put a sincere way to fulfill the master vows, right? And master say that, okay, what's the sincere way to elaborate? We understand the Dharma. As a vegetarian, master said, a very simple way, just be a vegetarian. Then be a vegetarian is a good way to measure how sincere you are to listen to the master teaching. That's a very simple way, right? Regardless what kind of excuse, what kind of reason, rational reasons you can put on the table. Just simple question. Are you vegetarians? Are you still eat meat? Yeah, that's kind of a very direct way, always master asking our disciple, right? So same thing apply over here. So with a sincere way facing the COVID, then we need to be more cautious, extra careful step, and also some luck and right effort. So finally, we make homes, and with 4 hours together is not easy right now because my 2 daughters went to college, so it's very hard to gather all of us together again. So this time we make it after 3 years. So we went to the famous place to take photo. If you missed above, here we go. We have a pretty good scenes right now still after 3 years. Thanks to masters and all the above master to take care of this wonderful place, right? So, and then I also have some gift for master. I will always bring gifts to master. So this time I brought 1,000 xiangsidou, more than 1,000. It's from my hometown of Penang. It's just there's one xiangsi su, the tree of xiangsi in my backyard. I didn't know that. So I just discovered it a few years back. So this time I collect it and bring back to master. It's like so good that it represents 3 years every day, right? You can calculate it's more than 1,000, right? Days for 3 years. So master said, is this every day you're thinking of me? I said, oh yeah, of course. So I'm thinking of you. I think all of us, right? Every day for the past 3 years, we are not able to go back to above. So thinking of master, yearning to master through her teaching. And I think we still feel fortunate that we can still online together with master. So we always cherish that we still have some times, but physically, see master is always our final goal. And you know that the master lost a lot of energy when talking to the people. She always mentioned that she need to raise a lot of energy in order to speak. So this time I brought a Wisconsin ginseng, ginseng. It's very expensive ginseng and famous from US, right? My mom always asked me to bring back because it's quite expensive in Malaysia, right? And actually this ginseng is good to boost energy, right? So that's a kind of showing our care and love to master. Yeah, master is happy when regardless with gift or without gift. When we go back and see her, she always so happy to see the disciple, especially from the world, right? So because it's quite hard to going back right now. And then we have meet a lot above master. Then the first question they always ask me, any new song for this year? So yeah, that's the questions above master always ask me when they see us whole family go back during Chinese New Year. Yeah, I said yes, of course. I don't want to disappoint us above master. Because we have been doing this kind of new song like yearling master songs for many years. They're expecting it, but somehow for the past 3 years we cannot go back. So they are earrings to see the new songs. And in fact, for this trip, I do not prepare any songs because I assume that there's no New Year Eve performance. But somehow, when I went back to Taiwan, they start to contact me, say, oh, this year we were going to resume back the performance. So we try to mimic a norm against for the whole world, for the Jingse as well. So master will start seeing a lot of disciples coming back to celebrate Chinese New Year with her. So it's a big family kind of vibes that about master try to doing to resume normal. Normalcy is very important right now. So yeah, so I composed the songs during my quarantine. So hard, without any guitar in my side. I just composed it miracle ways. I composed the songs, as you know, it's not that they sit on the table and today I say that I want to compose a song. No, it's not like this kind of thinking. It's the song is like flying from the sky, and when I touched by some of the master teaching during the year-end blessing, so that's some rhythm and music will flow through my mind, and I just try to capture it. So it's like instinct kind of action. So if I think more, there's not going to have a song. So that's why a differentiate between the engineer and arts, right? So the artist is the cultivation is more on the instinct, right? So then we see something, they touch with their heart, and then they try to manifest it. Engineer is like step by step with logical thinking. So there's two different ways of people that think of that. And fortunately, I trained to be much both sides of my brain together. When I encounter different scenario, when I'm working, I use my logic brain. When I write a song, I use my another brain, right? So that's how you complete the whole brain, we can call it a oneness brain. For a real practitioner or real philosopher, actually they have both brain complete merged together. It depends on how you use it. That's why as a Buddha or as like master, not even talk about Buddha, let's talk about master. Master is the best CEO in the world. Everyone's like CEO on around the a chapter around the world, when we talk about master, and we all agree that master logic thinking is so precise, so logic. But when you deal with those arts, how we manifest ourselves, how to cultivate one's being, so master also has another side of the thinking that can reach deep inside your heart, and how to cultivate, encourage people, or direct as a good director. 职业师姐 is not the final director. We still have a supreme director for our sutra performance, right? It's master, really. So yeah, that's how actually for once, if we ourselves, if we want to achieve a real Bodhisattva way, we have to use both brain together. Yeah, not attached to another one. It's try to balance it. So it's how complete ourselves in this life, and learning from master. Yeah, that's a lot background about song, just songwriting. I can talk a lot about this one because I have this kind of experience so many times. So above, still as usual, even the world is upside down. you know that, you know what it means, upside down. Just for last five months, you know, the war is still there. We have a crisis over inflations over here, or we have record rains and storm in Bay Area in Northern California. It has been seen for 50 years. The people that live over here, they say that they never seen this kind of storm and rain for 50 years. So the world is upside down, really. But you still can feel the calm and transcends kind of moments when you go back to above. The Zhongyang Samai, the central spine of Taiwan, still arise so beautifully back at our above. And master always no work, no meal every day, and work to work every day. So it's still as usual. So I feel calm, even we are facing the world, kind of chaotic world, especially in US. But when I go back to above, I always make myself calm down and try to feel the good energy of that. Yeah. So that's one first thing. And we also do the work. So we join the above master and prepare the New Year dish, and my elder daughter Iris has a surprise birthday cake from Master Te Huang. I know. I think most of people know Master Te Huang. Master Te Huang is from Malaysia, so we are so happy to meet each other again physically. She went to New York one time to have an open ceremony on one of the chapter. So that's why we know each other. And yeah, when Master Te Huang just heard about that, oh, Ira has a birthday a few days ago, then she just keep it in her heart and asked another sister to go out and brought a kid for Ira. So these small actions really so touch our hearts. So you can see how our boat master really taking care of us like a family, right? And she is like complete. Ira is complete her college, and then she really liked to take a picture. I like this photo from her. You know, our Xiao Huang from above her, and kind of good feeling about above. If you really miss Jing Se, yeah, this picture can mean a lot. And she also helped one of master to test out the mic. So this is how configurations when the master came out to do a morning assembly, and also a Dharma at dawns for the past. And I really so lucky that can sit on the on the table and chair. So no one's should do that beside master, right? Yeah, she's so fortunate that yeah, to do that. So yeah, the master like her so much. And the first thing I would like to, I met, luckily that I met the Nepal teams, which everyone knows that's considered from Malaysia and Singapore volunteer, right? They are the first team that they carry the missions for master to really bring Tzu Chi mission to Nepal. No one did that. No one did that, right? No one ever did that, but finally they make it. So this can understand how close the heart of volunteer from Malaysia and Singapore to master. Master really admit that they really listens deeply what master wants at the finals years of the Tzu Chi, right? So, and then I heard one sentence that said by the master. Master said that I will find you in next life. Wow. In Chinese, 记得要跟紧我要把你们找回来 find all of you in next life. Wow, I so so happy, excited, but worried as well. So I just simple question: are you how many people really sure that you can find a way back home to Tzu Chi when you pass away? So there's so many factors, right? To determine what's your next life will be, right? First thing, vegetarians. Second thing, how's your karma? Do you know your karma? Have you repaid back all your karma? No, do not. And third thing is, what's your mind state? Are you accumulate good energy? So that make sure you come back as a human, right? We have a 6 choice for you, right? 6 realms for you. Are you sure you are not going down the 3 downside of the realms, right? Or going up? So those questions we need to always ask ourselves. Do you accumulate good enough mind state and energy or karma? In the world, actually, is very physics. I'm studying physics. It's a cause and effect. The whole world is running as a cause and effect. The cause and effect is not only for this year life. It's accumulate for many thousand, even 100 million of life, and build up a complex system that will drive you every day. Every decisions you make is all coming from the hidden force, that unknown force that make every decisions, make every your routines, and all is very physics. So and any encounter is all already written in the book, or we call it's already deterministic, right? So this is how the whole life become you, living in I'm born in Malaysia, but I live in US right now. It's all has a cause and has a unknown seeds already implants for the past life, right? Everything is deterministic. So, but for your next life, how do you know this unknown force, right? You did not know. For myself, I can't see it until they reach certain clarity, stillness. Then you will break through. You will see it. You will feel it. I think Master Buddha, all the good sages will have this capability to know that. That's why when Master say this, just simple words, there's a lot meaning behind that, right? I will find all of you in next life. Yeah. So lucky we are, right? If you attach Ji a lot or you listen to what Master teaching, of course, Master will always, she has a vow to find all of us in next life. Wow, then you better on board right now, okay? Don't jump out of the car or out of the train, right? That's my advice for you. So when I heard of this quote from Master when they talking to Nepal team, I so encouraged and saying that, yeah, thank you, Master. Thank you. We will follow you as close as possible. Hope that we are back again, all of us right now. Hope that we will see every one of you again next life in Chiji, in this Bodhisattva way. We need this kind of a blessing, a wish, a vow, right? So that we will not fall down to other realms or other channel. Yeah, I think this is very important. So important that I'm so lucky that heard from Master to the Nepal team. I think definitely to all of us that follow Master on this path, right? So very important. Make sure you find a way, not for this life, for the next life. How to determine that? You have to plan it out, not on your work, but actually in your Chiji Bodhisattva way, right? Okay. And then I also encountered so heartfelt moments. There's one sister at age like around like 70ish. Her commissioner number is below 1,000. So it means that it's very early stage of volunteer, very, very senior volunteer. She is at hospice right now, but our volunteer and Master try to bring her back to Poh because she just has a last wish on her last day at life. She just want to see Master. Wow, when I say it right now, I still can feel what is the moment just to see Master. You can see that we just wait outside a Zaitang, right? Where the place we have our dinner, lunch. So, and waiting for Master to finish her lunch, then just waiting for Master to give her last teaching. I can say that last teaching, so that she can carry this teaching maybe for her next life. So precisely. So when you see this kind of photo, right, you can ask ourselves, are we really cherish what we have? We almost have a lot of opportunity to go back and see Master, really. Yeah, for volunteer outside Taiwan, right? But for most of the Taiwan's volunteer, because there are so many of them, and even they are very senior, there's not much time they can see Master and talk to Master. So we should feel cheerful. We should seize the opportunity when you have time, just to go back and see Master and just listen to the Master teaching. Treat it as your last moment of life you want to carry this teaching moving to your next life. Yeah, that's the life and death, right? Moments. What do you want? Ask yourself. Or can you let go a lot of things, or you just still attach a lot of stuff in your mind? Then just ask ourselves, that's on life, and what is your wish? Yeah, I think this senior sister teach us something. Yeah, teach us something. Right? Okay, and then who clean up our restroom and dorm? Oh, this time I really met Rou Sifu. Rou Sifu came up my dorm, and I met her in men's restroom. Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassed that I met Sifu in the men's restroom toilet, and then some of the senior volunteers told me that, yeah, Sifu really cleaned up our restroom and the toilets, no doubt about that. And with who? With others Lao Pusa, the most elder Pusa. They all come to Jingse every day, almost every day, clean up the dome, climb up to the dome. The dome has second floor, right? If you still remember, the second floor stage is really steep. It's very hard for me to climb up, but they did. All the elder senior volunteer and the Sifu, above master Rou Sifu. Sifu know me because of the songs, right? So yeah, this is the first time I met Sifu in this kind of situation. So they just want us to have a really comfortable place to stay. That's just very simple questions, right? So yeah, this kind of you can see that it's a very simple actions or daily job routine, but they are a shifu, our master. So then you reflect back us, right? Is a practitioner as we are practice the Buddha teachings, right? So how's the Buddha teachings and the daily life merged together? This will be the first question you ask yourself. Is that I cleaning up our restroom? I'm talking right now in your house, right? Your own house. It cleaning up the restroom, make it nice, tiny, especially toilets. Is it you has resistance to do that? It's nothing to do with Buddhism practice. If you still have this kind of divisions or separations, your daily life things with the Buddhism practice, then you are wrong. You are wrong path. I'm not sure you are wrong on anything, or you are wrong path in the Bodhisattva path, right? Wrong path of the Turkiye way to practice the Buddhism. So in above the spiritual home of the Bodhisattva, right? Almost every above master has experience to clean up the restroom, clean up the toilet, clean up the dome, including all the senior volunteers. They are not treating this job as a wasting time, or I have to do it. Or if someone, your husband, your wife, asks you to clean the restroom, toilets, I think most of us will resist to do that. Why not you clean it? Or we just hire someone to clean it. Or why you not keep our kitchen so tiny, and so everything's need someone to clean, wash the plates, all those daily life work. You almost experience it in Jingse, in the above. All the master senior volunteers have to do it, and they treat it as one of the practice, right? Treat it as one of practice, how to make the environment so tiny, so clean that actually reflect our inner beauty, inner cleaner of our hearts. A lot of people doesn't think that way. It's actually reflections. If your heart and mind is so clean, by nature, your environment, you have a natural way you're going to do it yourself, not forced by others or asking by a wife or husband. You just want the environment so clean. That's why you can explain above is so clean, because every place actually reflects every mind in our master or in our senior volunteer. Everyone is just you clean it so naturally, not by forcing by others. That's the reflection of mine when I met Rou Sifu in the above. So I will no longer receive to clean my toilets or to clean my kitchens or wash my plate. Although I still have some resistance on that, but I try to learn. So I hope that we can merge these two brains together again, not to like separate them anymore. Okay, that's a very, very important learning from above. Don't try to separate out your daily life with the Bodhisattva practice over here. Okay. So we also met a lot of Tzu Chi rock star. I call it rock star. Yeah, they are very so famous. Our brother Faisal Hu Guangzhong, our brother Chen Zhi, another miracle. We can say that you can treat as, and we also have Nepal team, brother Qifeng, and also some of the Singapore teams. So today I just, with the time limited, I would like to share what we encountered with the brother Chen Zhi. Chen Zhi is just like 5 years old, right? And we know her parents, especially her mother, because her mother also stay quite often in Jingshi, and she know us as a family always sing a song during Chinese New Year. So we chat a lot. You know, Chen Zhi, like at the age just two years old, one day he went to above. When he saw master, he's like seeing someone that known for many life. He just chased master, just 2 years old, chased master, want to talk to master. And then the story you can see in the Thai TV, right? She always sing the prayer so loud. She like going to the above before going to the Tzu Chi Elementary School at Hualien. And now he's 5 years old. And at home, he listened to master teaching every day, right? So sincerely. So you never see ones like 2 or 3 years old kids behave like it's kind of abnormal. That's what his mother told us, that it's kind of abnormal. But when I see him, you know, a lot of senior like Siku Sipo want to take photo with him, but he always try to avoid that because he don't want to be like taking photo, or he kind of cute kids. But when he saw Ira, right? You see, both of them are so close to each other. You know why? Because Ira has been a vegetarian for like almost 20 years, same as us. You know, the waveform, the way both of them like can close to each other like this, and he is willing to take photo with her. So you can see that actually vegetarians is so important. The food that we eat can create a pure energy in your heart. And a lot of people really like Ira. You see, a vegetarian is not a thing that like you give up something, or it's kind of it's really hard thing to do in your life. Why I need to sacrifice what the only thing I enjoy every day? It's not a sacrifice. When you see these two, Iro and the Chen Zhi, you can explain everything, right? they actually benefit you. It's not sacrifice you at this moment, maybe temporary, but it actually help you really in the cultivation way. Unless you're not choosing cultivation way, then that's another topic. But if you join Tzu Chi, of course you want to improve your life, right? And that's the real power for that. Right? The master never force anyone or sacrifice that you would like to do things that she think is the right thing to do, right? That's why she always urge us to be a vegetarian. And I see that in the Chen Zi way, and I see why Chen Zi want to close to Ira, and I only find a way because she is vegetarian, and she always nice to everyone. She always that she doesn't have any like hidden agenda to anyone. When when we as a parent talk to her, she really easy go, and everyone's like her because she doesn't like conflict with others. So I think this kind of personality really like align to Chen Zi. I'm not saying Ira is very good, but they match the other. Would like to take a photo. Chen Zi just go like eagerly want to take photo with her. It explains everything, and it also explains a very important chapter about the dragon girl. So dragon girl is the topics of about in our Lotus Sutra. So I put it over here. You can find which chapter they're talking about. The two sages accept the dragon girl's attainments as a Buddha. It's very important chapter over here. As a dragon is an animal, right? As a girl's mother always say the girls has many obstacles during many lives of the cultivations compared to the others. So I don't really believe that, but from the master, she always think that girl need to put more efforts. That's the story tell about the dragon girls attain the Buddha in just what instance. And two sages don't believe that, but finally they accept that. Why? Go and find the answer. Actually explain the brother Chen Zi over here, and very important for us as a practitioner on Bodhisattva, right? And then the Lunar New Year, you can see a lot of stuff from four missions celebrate Chinese New Year. And one thing that I would like to show you, this is where the place master trained her stamina so that she can have energy to do a teaching every day. And mother do a teaching every day. And everyone assume that this is kind of normal. No, it's not normal. Master has to practice walking so that she can generate the qi so that she can talk. In the normal way, she talk really soft, like you can't feel any energy in the real moments when the master like so soft that you even can't hear what master is talking. And when she's in online or need to do a real teaching, you can feel that she really put a lot of hard work to gather the energy, and then she start talking. Yeah, it's not the norm. When we heard it from the TV, actually you think that it's a norm. Not at all. Then this is how master need to walk a few rounds to practice the body. And New Year, first time in 3 years, we finally back to norm. So hopefully, but we need to start. And we present the new songs. A lot of people ask me why I want to wrote a new song, why you go back to during Chinese New Year, even just one day, you fly like 20 plus hours, take a flight, train, combine together 20 plus hour and sing a song. Then next day you fly back again, 20 plus hour, just doing a song. And then finally I realized that when this time I go back, so many above master asked me, hey, do you have new songs? We are so eagerly to see you sing a song. And then I just realized that those songs is become a songs that can leverage a warm and big family of Su Ching. So, and every time I know that it's very expensive trip. It's not cheap, and a lot of the work need to take leave from study or from the work. But I still think that it's the right thing to do, because I can see that it's even harder for a boat master to maintain the boat and take care of us. I just try to repay back. Yeah, it's just simple reason. I just try to repay back whatever I can do, especially a boat master prepare all the rice, the noodles for us to distribute during the pandemic in US. I really appreciate how a boat master taking care of us. And one of the boat master, the Ti Sifu, mentions that this is how the teaching of master Shangren to them. Shangren told a boat master, we have to take care of the above. When Chu Chi people come back, make sure they have enough food to eat and feel warm, and also delight, recharge with Dharma. After recharge, then they can go back to save the sentient being around the world. That's the only reason the mission of a boat master take care of us. Yeah, so touched when you hear that, right? So yeah, that's the songs. The songs that I wrote this time have a lot of meaning. I already explained it just now, right? Regardless of how high the mountains and how deep the water, we will always be there to cross over with you. Thank you, Sister Sihu and Su Ching, to translate the song, and also Li Shan, right? And you can see the lyric. No matter how high mountain water, we just cross over. Regardless how far the distance and how long is the sentiments or our great love, spare no effort, we will follow you to walk across. So this lyric actually is come from a sharing during the year-end blessings. Right now, Su Ching has been gone through like 57 years, right? There are a lot of senior volunteers that accompanies a master during very early stage. Some of them pass away, some of them already very old. And this time in Taipei, master start to mention about, recall the history, to tell those senior volunteers, don't give up. Do you still remember, regardless how high the mountains, how deep the water, we always cross over. And how far the distance is that, we always make it through. And with no effort, we always accompany and follow each other, provide the strength to each other. That's the sharing that day in Taipei, the sharing that touched my heart a lot. And because of this just short sharing, I wrote this song. And I wrote these songs and also give me encouragements that see how hard is the Bodhisattva way. Master and the senior volunteer has been there since 57 years, and they overcome so many obstacles. Those obstacles compared to us that we are facing right now, do you think is it worth? Do you think we should regale more? So those questions is I start to ask myself. That's why I wrote this song. until the end of time, we should vow and pledge to stay with you life after life, free of content, mindful, cultivate the purity of heart. So it's actually it's a 静思. It's a Chinese word. It's 静思, 静, Qing and San become a 静. So 青山无所争, there's free of content, right? And 思 is fu and tian, right? And it's cultivate our mind in the purity of the heart. So that's our spiritual, our core value of Tzu Chi, right? And 金色 above is always a spiritual home for eternity. So that's the whole my learnings or my feel about 金色 Tzu Chi after 25 years. That will be a song that I will remember, always want to sing. Even right now, I sing this song. When I sing, I vow and pledge to stay with you. I still have tear in my eyes. Regardless, until the end of times, I always keep the vows. I still have tear in my eyes, even it has been many months, right? So, yeah, I always have my tear in my eye for my own songs, regardless how many times I sing that, because the song behind the song have so many story about master and the senior volunteer, so many touching story, heartfelt story. And this time I purposely wrote a quote for Brother Han, because I lost Brother Han last year. She is my buddy in Tzu Chi for many years. And I wrote this 你心自我心里愿自我愿 we are close at heart. Your experiences are my experience. And this is master kind of a deep conversation with the senior volunteer. He said, I hope that my heart, you know my heart, and your vows will be my vows. That's a very powerful quote from master to senior volunteer, and the reply back from volunteer to master and disciple to master. And the last quote actually from Brother Hans. Brother Hans always has just one vow, one master, with no regret. Everyone knows that Brother Hans is a very smart guy. He has a PhD in microbiology. He works in institutes, the research institute has so many Nobel Prize in biology, in medicine. He has a very bright future in the career for normal people expectations. But she gave up. She think that the true meaning of life is not in achievement in academy. I find a final truth in Buddhism. That's why he followed master. He designed and become joined full-time in Tzu Chi USA. And he never regret, even he passed away until the last breath, still thinking of Tzu Chi. So yeah, when talking about him, I have a lot of sorry, because I worked with him for many years side by side. I also resigned from my engineer works a few years back and joined him in Tzu Chi headquarters. We work as a full-time. Yeah, we see each other every day. So yeah, so just to remember him, I wrote his famous quote to this song. And the last lyric is that we vow to pave the path again for master. So the only quote that master I feel so warm after have so many brothers or sisters pass away, and also our beloved brother Chi Sifu, master say that those people actually pave another path for me, so that when I I go there, I can continue the Tzu Chi road. It is so beautiful. It's not this life anymore. It's a life after life. So that's why these songs, all the spirit, all the people that gave away their life, dedicate devotions to Tzu Chi, and they find a way home. Not for this life. Master already guaranteed that they're going. Master guaranteed that she's going to find them back and follow our Bodhisattva path along the way. I think this is the most important story I want to tell you in this song. So the last four is before leaving, Master took off her mask and show a tired face. You know, Master always wear a mask, but when before leaving, seeing us, and then she said, "You have to work hard." I know that I'm not work hard so great, because actually Master want to tell me that now I want to speak, but I don't have no more energy. She just want me to put more effort, because look like she doesn't have more time to teach us anymore. You have to really seize every opportunity to work hard. Okay, that's the very important message. That's why after I have a really not a good way back. Every year I sing a song, I have happy face, heart, mind going back to US. But this time I feel very heavy heart to go back, because Master really giving up her life to teach us. We really need to work harder, pay more attention. So in these 11 days and above, I found a way back again. I lost, and I feel that has been washed miraculously these 11 days. And I think everyone's 2 years in pandemic, we have stay like still for many things, and sometimes we lost our Dharma heart. So we'll hope that you find a way, go back to above, or find your spirit back, find your way back home. So hope to share this story to all of you, so that we can continue our Dharma path together. Thank you so much.
Yeah, spectacular sharing, Brother Bao Ru. Yeah, I think me and I think all of us, we are so inspired, by your wonderful sharing. Yeah, I think you brought us back to Hualien and see all these very touching stories. Indeed, I think all of us must always, cherish, our opportunity. Every little opportunity. And I think, Brother Bao Ru, you are so meticulous. Every little things that you see, I think you shared it with us. I think you bring us back to this path. I think all of us, we need each other, to inspire, to bring us back to this road again. I think after going through this difficult 3 years, all of us, must always charge up to go back, to see Master. Yeah. Karen so much, Brother Bao Ru, sharing with us live from US. I think now it's about what 7 p.m. At night now, isn't it?
Yeah.
12 hours. Yeah. Okay. I think Brother Johnson is here already. I think maybe before we go for the next session, maybe all of us, is it convenient, everyone, to on your video so that we can take a good photo? Brother Bao Ru. Sister Lily, can you control the sharing so that we will all have the group photo? Okay. Everyone, please on your video. It's, Brother Johnson here. Brother, hi. Sister Lily will take the photo. Sister Effie.
Wonderful session, Brother Bao Ru. Actually, we are also looking forward to Brother Bao Ru's singing. Maybe another session. 再过一次啊，Brother Bao Ru. We invite Brother Bao Ru again. Wow, every time listen, also very teary one.
Yeah.
Go to the YouTube and find the song.
Live singing.
好的，好的 Okay. Okay, Canon again. Yeah, thank you everyone. Yeah. Okay, now we shall move on to our next session. Today, mate, I think this is the greeting that we always extend to our Aussie volunteer. Yeah, from Brother Johnson. You are from where? East? From Brisbane side or from Melbourne or Sydney?
I'm from Brisbane. Yeah.
From Brisbane. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now we have Brother Johnson with us. Brother Johnson is the project coordinator for this Tzu Chi Cyclone Idai reconstruction project in Mozambique. He was responsible for this overall management and infrastructure rebuilding project in Mozambique. And of course, Brother Johnson is also playing a Tzu Chi staff role, active in Australia since 2009, and have been in the collegiate youth volunteers and also in various charity activities. And of course, have been certified in 2016 and taking refuge under Master. And of course, today, I'm sure Brother Johnson is going to share a lot with us about his involvement in Turkey and Syria. Okay, over to you, Brother Johnson.
Thank you, Brother Robert. Good morning, Masters. Good morning, Tzu Chi families from all around the world. Real pleasure to join the English online sharing again. So thank you, Brother Robert, for introducing me. And so I originally did come from Australia. I was born in Taiwan, but I grew up in Australia, in Brisbane. Since 2020, I've been working in Taiwan at our global headquarters at the Jingsi abode. More specifically, I work for Mozambique on our reconstruction project there. And because we work at HQ, we're able to also participate on other projects. And today I wanted to share with you my experience in the past month working with Turkey. Specifically, I was sent to Turkey right after the earthquake in February, and we were there for about a month. So just want to take everyone back a little bit in time because it's been over a month since then. I'm sure everyone has been seeing the news. But today we want to take you on the ground to Turkey to see what life really was like there in Turkey after the earthquake. So the earthquake itself happened at 4:17 in the morning on 6th of February. Most people at that time were actually waking to start their day. The main religion in Turkey is Islam. So they have a process of having to pray 5 times a day and starting at the break of dawn. And so many of them actually were waking to begin their morning ritual that day. So when we went there, we saw that literally the world stopped on that moment, just a little bit past 4, and the clocks had stopped. And what they told us was that for them, their life also felt like it stopped at that time as well. Many of their homes were destroyed. What we heard, the stories we heard were terrifying. They're saying some of them who lived on the 5th story, they said, when it first started going up and down, so they could feel they're on their bed or they're standing on in their room, and it started moving up and down. And then a few seconds later, they were thrown to the side against the wall, and then they bounced back when the earthquake started shifting side to side. And then they could start hearing screaming from their own children, their own family, their neighbors. It's just the building was filled with screams. They tried to run out of the building. When they're running out of the buildings, the staircases start falling away. The 5th floor, the 4th floor, the 3rd floor. By the time they got to the 3rd floor, they found there was no way going down because when they walked out, they were at street level. The ground floor or the 1st story were already destroyed, and under the ground had already collapsed. And then there they were walking out of the third floor onto the street. It was heavily raining outside that day. The temperature was 0 degrees Celsius, or less than zero at 4 in the morning. Heavy rain, earthquake, and they had lost everything. They were just wearing their pajamas. Many of them lost family. The people that we saw on the ground there, these are their eyes. You can see they don't have much emotion. They don't have much hope. They don't know what to do next. Many of them lost the entire extended families. We had volunteers who told us that they lost over 100 extended family members. And I think this is one building or one family here and there. No, we're talking about entire cities that were destroyed through this earthquake. And I'll just share this with you. This is a drone footage that was shot right after the earthquake. And you can see the before and after effects of the city. You have entire cities. Turkey is a well-established country. It's not a country that is still in development. No, it's a very mature economy and also advanced country as well. But we don't know why this earthquake suddenly brings this type of disruption and destruction. Entire cities, entire neighborhoods are gone, razed to the ground. When we were there, we were breathing in dust every single day, dust in our eyes, in our nose, in our mouth, in our ears every day, because of all the rubble, because of all the sand and stone that was left there after the destruction. And they were still continuing to destroy buildings that were unsafe to enter in. We can see here even the sports fields have been entirely destroyed. So Turkey and Syria itself sit on the edge of Europe and Asia. We can see here the affected provinces in these countries. So on the top, we have Turkey in gray. On the bottom in purple is Syria, and the blue line divides national border. But we know earthquakes and natural disasters do not differentiate between countries. When Mother Nature decides to rear its head, it affects all of us, no matter what color we are, no matter what language we speak, no matter where we reside. So in the red is the provinces that were the epicenter of the earthquakes. There were 2. And then the other 15 provinces, in total 17 provinces in Turkey and Syria that were affected by the earthquake. On the top left, we have Istanbul. So this is the biggest city in Turkey, and that is where our Tzu Chi office is. And Brother Faisal, Sister Nadia, Brother David, they have been working there for over 10 years, cultivating charity in the community there. So this is a brief outline of the country itself. How about the earthquake? So the earthquake itself, there were actually twin earthquakes. We call it a double quake. So there was one that was at 17 past 4 in the morning. There was also actually another one a few hours after, at about 1:30 in the afternoon. And that is the one that really destroyed many, many buildings. The first one made many buildings unstable. The second one brought a lot of it down and also killed a lot of people who were still trapped under these buildings. Right until now, through Turkey and Syria, the calculation is over 540,000 people have passed away in this disaster, and close to over 240,000 buildings have been destroyed or are too dangerous to ever use again. And this has affected 3.2 million people. But actually, over 10 million people live in this area that's been affected. But we know directly it has impacted 3 million people who probably have to look for a new home. In Tzu Chi, when it comes to disaster relief, we have our 6 principles: directness, focused effort, respect, practical gratitude, and timeliness. And this is what guides us when we begin to respond to a natural disaster. And this is an accumulation of Tzu Chi's experiences since 1992, when Tzu Chi Taiwan began helping China, and then later on also in the African continent as well, and then throughout the world. So now, when the earthquake occurred on the 6th of February, we were immediately notified through a global network that monitors earthquakes. So at the first moment, actually, we called from Taiwan, we called the Istanbul office and say, hey, you had an earthquake. In Istanbul, they had a little shake, but it was early in the morning and they still did not know the impact of the earthquake. So we called them, and then since that first moment, within the first hour, we made contact with Turkey, and then we began working with them. 5 days later, on the 11th of February, Brother Simon Xiong, who's our deputy CEO in Tzu Chi, Taiwan, led a team of 10 of us to go into Turkey. And we were very fortunate that the Turkish airline and also the airports in Istanbul and the customs were very welcoming, and it helped us take actually a lot of material. We each carried we actually carried over 700 kilograms of aid material. Definitely not our own clothes. We don't need that many clothes. It was all aid material. We had blankets, we had scarf, we had rice, we had noodles, we had medicine as well to try to take in there and help the people as much as we can. At that time, we still didn't know how we would be able to deliver our aid in the disaster region, because at the time, actually, the Turkish government put a restriction on you had to be an accredited NGO with the government to be able to enter into the disaster zone. They had roadblocks set up. They had military police policing the disaster area to make sure that it was a safe and secure area. They didn't want people that were unknown to enter the area. Tzu Chi had been established in Turkey, but we had operated in Istanbul for most of our experience. And then suddenly in this area, in southern Turkey, we did not have this status. So this was where we first started. So one hand was trying to get into disaster zone. One hand, we were trying also to understand a little bit more of what the impacts of the earthquake really was, because all we saw on the Western media or international news was all these collapsed buildings and people with nowhere to go. But what was life really like? In a way, we were very fortunate, but also very shocked because we met one of the victims of the earthquake on our first day in Istanbul. So this is Mr. Gurdi and his son. They live in a city called Antakya or Hatay. And that city is an ancient city, but it is also one of the most devastated cities in the earthquake this time, very close to the epicenter. So on the day we arrived, he has a brother who is a teacher in the Tzu Chi school in Istanbul. So he came to he escaped out of his city that was destroyed and caught the bus for 2 days, and then came into Istanbul to live with his brother because he had lost his home. He arrived during dinner time, so we welcomed him to sit down and we asked him how things were, and immediately he was lost for words. He said the jacket shirts they're wearing they had to pinch this out of the collapsed home. Underneath the sweatshirt he was wearing was still the shirt that he wore when he escaped out of the building 5 days ago when the earthquake happened. And he told us the story of running out of the building, staying in the rain for nearly 2 days, because at that time there was no NGO aid. The government had not arrived with the search and rescue team. So they could only look for places to hide from the rain, shelter their children from the cold. But he said what the most shocking thing was, for 3 days, they could hear cries for help. He said there were cries for help coming out of the collapsed buildings, even from under the streets. He said you could hear from the drains, from the streets, this sound for help, help, help, just echoing throughout the streets. So he said he didn't have any tools, but he found a hammer and he had his hands. So he went in to try and dig his neighbors, his family, friends out of the collapsed buildings. But he said it's just one at a time, and that he had very limited efforts. And when he said sometimes even when he did break down the stone with his hammer and managed to reach out to the people who were still caught under the collapsed building, he said even sometimes those people refused to come out. Said the people told him, I've lost all my family is still underneath me, I cannot leave them. And then he said he tried to bring these people out, tried to give them hope, but sometimes the aftershocks will come, and then he would have to get out of that collapsed building. After the aftershocks are gone, when he goes back in, there's no more sound. There's no more life after those buildings. So hearing these stories like this we knew we had to help in some way. And we also got this news that people like Mr. Gurdi, he's not the only one. Many thousands of families escaped out of the disaster-affected provinces and came to the bigger cities to seek safe refuge. So immediately we began to try to mobilize and try to do something to help these families who come to stay with their extended families or friends. Luckily, we have been working in Istanbul for many, many years with a store called BİM. BIM. So this is the gift card from BİM. They're actually a national chain franchise grocery store, a little bit like Woolies, Woolworths, and this type of national chain. So they had presence everywhere around the country, and their card could be used everywhere. So immediately we contacted the store to say we want to purchase additional gift cards, and we also want to we also want to design it in a way that would give people a little bit more confidence in accepting the card. So we attached our Tzu Chi logo on there. And eventually, actually now the BİM store managed to design and also produce cards with only the Tzu Chi logo. And this was the latest updates that we received yesterday. And it's not only the BİM gift grocery store cards to let them buy what they need, but also we had blankets, because at the time it was very, very cold. Turkey is actually a big textile industry country, so we're able to purchase blankets locally. They were 2.6 kilos each, very, very thick and very, very big blankets. You can have a look at how many brothers and sisters are needed to just open this blanket out. It's like nearly a queen or king size blankets. So we had this material ready to go. And then we looked at how we would help. And so we had Istanbul, these families who had escaped. And then in the south of the country, over 1,000 kilometers away, we knew we had many, many people in these provinces that needed help. Through our established volunteer network, also through the government coordination and the United Nations, we were able to receive information and start targeting provinces that were most severely affected, but also safe for us to go into. And we were pre-planning already, pre-planning for the disaster region, while giving direct aid to the people who have escaped out of the disaster zone to Istanbul. A few days later, we had received our blankets. So these trucks came, and we were just completely amazed when we saw this truck pull up at the Tzu Chi school. The Tzu Chi school is called Il Manahil. This is the Tzu Chi school that we established there in Istanbul. So each truck had over 2,600 blankets. Each of them were 2.6 kilos each. So we had over 6.8 tons of blankets to move consecutive days. And I looked at the blankets and was just completely shocked and said, how are we going to move these blankets? And luckily, when in Tzu Chi, we are never alone. We have our community volunteers, our brothers and sisters. So they put the call out to say we needed blankets to move blankets, and everyone came to the school in the morning for many days to try to move the blankets together. Each of these bags that we're carrying here, they're close to 100 kilos each. They have 4 or 5 blankets in them, and so they're very, very big. They have over 20 blankets in them, so nearly 100 kilos each. Very, very big, but very, very big. But also they carried a lot of hope, because we knew with the blankets, once we have them, we can begin helping people. And that's what we did a few days later, 17th of February, less than a week after we had arrived, we began our first distributions. And we gave out gift cards, we gave out scarves, we gave out blankets to over 1,000 families who came out of the disaster area. And then we also tried to understand what else they need. So again, we visited Mr. Gurdi, who was staying with one of the teachers of our school, and he was smiling. He was completely a different man. And we asked him, you still don't have very much. Do you even know when you're going to go home again? He says, I don't. But now I have something that I never thought I would have before. I have Tzu Chi. I have Tzu Chi peoples as brothers and sisters. He said when we accepted him to our dinner table together, and he was so dirty and still his hands were still black and he still had gravel in his hands. He said he understood and believed in mankind again. He found faith in his strength in his faith again. And he said to be able to receive that warmth, allow him to believe in and have hope again. So in this case, we see that it is not the material that we give, but the care and the love that we give to people that are able to build hope. And we took on this spirit as we moved into the disaster-affected regions. Meanwhile, we're mobilizing in Turkey to help the people of Turkey. In Syria, because of the ongoing war and the instability, we were not able to send a team in, but we worked with many partners, the United Nations specifically, and also we have an NGO and also our partners in Jordan and also entrepreneurs. Businesses in Jordan was able to donate over 400,000 pieces of clothing. So we have volunteers, and also they mobilize their staff in the factories to help pack this material. And then we sent this in on cargo trucks with the United Nations to reach the northern area of Syria to try to help people. So the ones where we could help directly in Turkey, we do that. But or the ones where we could work with partners and create a network of love and aid, we use this international partnership network. And then that's how, and then so when we began, once we have stabilized these paths, we began moving into the most challenging area, which was the disaster affected provinces in southern Turkey. We had to find, at the first time, our first team could not even find flights to enter into the area because the flights were controlled by the government. So they had to drive 1,000 kilometers through rain, hail, snow. They got there. And then 2 days later, we were able to find tickets, and then the rest of us flew into the disaster area. When we got there, we began doing our assessments. What we see was just like it was like an end of the world scene that we see in Hollywood movies. It's something, for me, growing up in Australia, we don't have earthquakes, even though my family's from Taiwan, and I heard about the September 25th earthquakes. In Hualien, we experience earthquakes all the time. But this was nothing like what we see in earthquakes in Taiwan. Buildings completely shattered and destroyed. And then within the buildings, we could see the design flaws of this type of buildings. They are in the middle of 3 tectonic plates, but these buildings are simply just designed too weak to withstand an earthquake of this magnitude. We can see here, I'm taking the photo there of that building. Right in front of me, that's actually the 3rd floor of that building. The 1st and 2nd floor had already collapsed and sunken into the ground. But you can see also this is, you can see how compressed each floor is. It's just like layers of, they say this is a pancake collapse, but literally it just looks like concrete sandwiches sitting on the side of the street, one slab on top of each other, no more space in the middle. So you can imagine those who were still sleeping in their beds, what happened when the floor above them came down so suddenly. This is only one building, but it's replicated throughout the city. We spoke of Antakya just before as well. So Antakya is a very ancient city. It existed in 600 BC, so even before the time of Jesus Christ. This is a satellite image of the city from 2022. The white areas are lights emitted from buildings. So it's a very popular city. It's a very big city. We expect, and it has many ancient monuments, and also it's on the ports, it's on the seaside as well. But how fragile we are, and after the earthquake, let's have a look what happened. Complete darkness, the loss of light, and loss of life, loss of the city over one night. Actually, not even a night, it's only in a few seconds. What we build, our lives completely shattered, completely gone. So again, I think, this shows us how fragile we are, and that Mother Nature, like Master Zheng always teaches us, that we must respect and love the land. If we don't respect and love the land and we hurt it, it will once again hurt us as together, because all sentient beings are connected to this land together. And it is not only, of course, in a devastation like this, it's not only homes that are destroyed, even shops like this. So this is, we went in, we knew we were distributing beam cards. So we went to see the beam store in town, and we could see it was also destroyed. But not only on the outside, we were also very surprised to see the inside have been ravaged as well. earthquakes would not take things off the shelves of a store. So we knew something was wrong. So we asked the local people, what happened? Why is the shops also empty? And they said, the first 3 days after the earthquake, there was no help. There was no food. There was no water, no clothes, nothing. So they had to take matters into their own hands. They said it was just like again, they said, they used the movie, even the Hollywood movies do not portray it so realistically. They said it is a battle between your heart and your mind and also survival. What do you do to help your family live the next day when they have been cold and hungry for 2 days already? They said they had no choice. They had to break into these stores and take things to make sure they survive. And also, but they said they don't take it for themselves. They said they take it and they give to the people in the community that need it. So really, it was just about a heart of survival. But again, it shows us that people, in times of desperateness, how important it is that we need to have resilience in our hearts. And also this is not only small buildings, big buildings too. Here we see a sports stadium. All the white small white dots outside, these are tents that have been pitched by the government to accommodate people who are affected by the earthquake. As we can see on the top right is a photo I took of what the tents look like. But it's very surprising to us when we first got to this tent city. It's freezing cold. Why are you pitching tents outside of the stadium? Wouldn't you put it inside to keep everyone warm? Then they told us, even this new stadium that was built a few years ago, it's also unsafe. It's also a collapse on the inside. Then we really understood that no one escapes when the nature decides to cry out. And under this type of devastation, we have over 11 provinces in Turkey. We have so many cities completely destroyed. Where does Su Ching even start? And every day we are walking amongst these 10 cities, looking for clues, but also searching for our hearts. How do we really help these people? What do they really need? And we are very fortunate. We have Master Cheng Yen as our mentor to guide us, and also we have the experience of Su Ching's international work to rely upon. And so we began to look for government officials that could help us. So we began to talk to government officials. This is a province governor, a governor from a province, and he was able to receive us. Even his office had collapsed, so he had to work in a truck, a mobile van, and then he had his office in there. So we began to explain to him that we come from Taiwan. We have volunteers in Turkey. We also have volunteers all around the world who want to help Turkey. How can we help? And then he began to explain to us the devastation of this city. And then also we worked with government officials on the ground. This man on the left is Mr. Haka. Mr. Haka is a resident of a town called Noordag. And in this town, in Noordag, they actually had a population of 40,000 before the earthquake, but over 3,000 people died in this earthquake. So close to 8% of their population actually passed away. He himself is actually a victim of the earthquake. His house has collapsed. But he said from the first day of the earthquake, he's been living in the tent cities, trying to find some more help for his fellow community members and to do his duty as a municipality official. So we were very touched by this type of government workers, public servants who are able to put the people before himself. Because we asked him, now we're here to do distribution, give help. Are you going to also include yourself, or should we include the officials or your colleagues? He said, no. He said, Su Ching's money and funds come from little pennies that people donate from all around the world. We can't take advantage of this. It must go to the people that are most affected. So Mr. Haka became one of our first government officials to give us name lists of people who were vulnerable, disabled, or in poverty, or widows, that could allow us to give very direct help, and we don't have to worry about not the money or the gifts going to the wrong people. But at the same time, it was very challenging as well. We had aftershocks all the time. And on the 27th of February, we actually had a very big one, over magnitude 6, and it shook us all very wide awake. And the next day we saw that even the earthquakes cracked the road, and even the municipality building had collapsed. So in this place in Nur Dak, where do we even distribute? This entire town, close to 8% of people passed away. So you can imagine how many buildings have collapsed. So where do we go? So for 2 days, we had a team driving around the whole city, trying to look for a safe place to do distributions. At the time, many other NGOs actually were just doing them roadside. They would drive a truck with water, with food, with blankets, whatever they want to distribute, and they would just stand on the truck and throw them into people, and people saw the trucks and they would run over and just line up under the truck. But we felt that was unsafe, and that does not carry respect, and doesn't have our humanistic culture, and it's not the way we want to do it. So we worked with the municipality, and finally we arrived at a market that was amongst many collapsed buildings. We first we didn't see this building because all we saw was all the collapsed buildings or broken buildings nearby. So we thought that neighborhood had no chance. But coincidentally, we drove by, and I think that is Bodhisattva leading us on this path. When we want to do something that is righteous and we walk on the righteous path, the right affinity will occur to us. So we found this safe marketplace and ensure the safety of our team. And then our volunteers got to working with local security, local community members to try to plan a very safe and efficient distribution. And the same culture applies. We were there. We shared with our Tzu Chi volunteers the way that Tzu Chi does big distributions post-disaster. We set up a very warm space to ensure that when people, they are in this time post-disaster, their life is very chaotic. They don't know when their next meal is. Perhaps they don't know where they will be tomorrow, where the government will send them, whether people will give them anything, or they have to rely on their own. Everything is very confused for them. So we want to make sure when they come to our distribution, we have a very peaceful and warm space for them. And it's also very interesting because Turkey is very developed. So in Turkey, our volunteers, when they are working in Istanbul, they send text messages out to contact their beneficiaries, to call them and invite them to the distribution. On their text message, it will say, we are Tzu Chi Foundation. We are looking to give you a gift to assist you at this time, at this place. Please come and see us at our event. Here in the south of Turkey, people do not know Tzu Chi. So when they get this type of text message, they think it's a scam. This gentleman here, he was one of the first people to arrive on the first day of the distribution here in Nur Dak. And he came very, very early. Distribution will start at 9. He was there at 7. And we asked him, why did you come early? And he said, I got this text message. Originally, I thought it was a scam, but I wanted to see who you guys really were. And I said, if you thought it was a scam, why did you even come? And he said, Mister, I have lost everything in this earthquake. I have nothing to lose. And so I just came to see and bet my luck. And then after he knew what we were there to do and he understood who we are, he said, wow, like he never thought one day someone from thousands of kilometers away would come and help him in his life in this way. The distribution was done in a very direct and transparent way. Everyone had to bring their ID. We would match it to the name list given by the government and make sure that the gift cards go to the people that are required. And it was a one-on-one service. But also, we also had to share with them what Tzu Chi, who is Tzu Chi and who we were, because there were so many people of so many Tzu Chi communities around the world who wanted to fundraise and send love to Turkey. And so we wanted to make sure where all of this comes from. And so we explained to them Tzu Chi, compassion and relief. Also, we shared with them, because all of them are Muslim and they have Islamic faith, so we tried to share in a way that was easy for them to understand that their Allah And our Buddha also actually is very similar in ideology. And we all talk about the concept of universal love or great love, and also helping and standing together in times of crisis. Originally, they were very confused, as you can see in the photo. Slowly, and we introduced sign language as well, one family, and then they began having some response. They took out their phone to start recording us. At that moment, the first day, I was actually very anxious when I saw this. I was like, are they really just trying to catch a memory of this moment? Or are they really trying to report us to the police to see we are scammers? But we have to have the righteous faith in our hearts and know we are doing the right thing, and believe that people are also selfless and people all have the same pure heart inside. And then really that was the eventuality as well, that later on after the language, they gave us an applause and their face lit up when they understood what we were there to do, and when they understand the philosophy of Master Cheng Yen through reading Master Cheng Yen's letter to them. Through the distribution, we can see that love really does not need words. Show love to someone, to show care to someone. Most of them spoke Turkish or Arabic. I speak English and Mandarin, so we were not really able to communicate a lot, neither were my colleagues. But we all said we will put ourselves forward and give them a hug, embrace them, hold their hands through the distribution process, just to have some kind of, to make sure they felt that we were standing by them and we were standing with them as well. And it was not only the old or the adults, but also the young ones as well. We tried to show care to each and every person that came. For the little ones, we gave them a blanket, we gave them a hug. For those that needed special assistance, we try to understand what they need and help them. And our volunteers will do the same. And I think in this sense, our volunteers in Turkey really showed us how to send love. And I'll share a little bit more with you towards the end as well on the stories of our volunteers, because in fact, many of them are not from Turkey. Most of our volunteers in Turkey are Syrian refugees who have escaped their war-torn country to come into Turkey. But first, let's take a look inside the life of people who were affected by the earthquake. This is Mr. Abdullah. He took us into a tent in Noordag, and he said he didn't have anything after the earthquake. Even this tent was given to him by a friend, and he pitched it near his house. He pitched it near his house, and we can see nearby some of these houses are still okay, but most of them are too dangerous to live in ever again. And it's a small tent that he's living in there with his family. His original home no longer exists. It collapsed during the earthquake. And in fact, it's not only the home that he lost, but also his family as well. He had two beautiful babies, and both of them were actually lost in the earthquake. Him and his family were trapped under the rubble for 5 days, and they had no way of getting out. And he did not get anything out because he was rescued out. So everything that he has is still collapsed under this building. He doesn't even have photos of the two children that he lost. He had to get that photo from a Facebook. He had to borrow a friend's phone and download the photo from Facebook to remember his children, because he was not able to have a photo of them. And for someone like Abdullah, lost his home, lost his family, he told us, he literally does not know what to do next in his life. He doesn't know where he would go. He doesn't know how he would find courage to move on. And so we stayed with him during our process in Noordag. We invited him to our distribution to receive the gift cards. And he saw Master's letter. He saw Tzu Chi's love. And he said, after receiving his 4 gift cards, this is worth about 10, his 4th gift cards are worth about 10,000 Taiwan dollars. And he said, this will be able to help relaunch his life. At least he has something to start with now. He said, doesn't matter the value of the gift cards, but he said, Tzu Chi, people coming into his life is like shining a light into a very, very dark room. And that light has reached far and beyond onto the other side of the room and lit up the room. He said, Thank you. He said thank you to all of us for bringing this light into his life again. Otherwise, since the earthquake, he had been living in darkness. And for us, it felt like we only were doing a little bit for him. And we really hope that he's able to walk out of the darkness and into the right path again. And we always feel like meeting people like Abdullah is not a coincidence. It's like Master teaches us, Bodhisattva must hear suffering and understand how to help and where the calls for help are. And also, I think, like I said, when we are working in the right path, working with the right heart, the right affinities will occur. This is a photo one day when we were driving in a city that was also collapsed, called Kirkhan. And we came across a family that waved us down at the side of the road. And the man in the blue shirt and his family there, and said, Mr., can you take us to the municipality? And we said, yes, we are actually looking for the municipality as well, because also in this city, the municipality building had collapsed. So the Google map wasn't much help. So we were asking around to see where the municipality was and how we could get there. And so he took us, he knew where to go. So he took us, gave us directions. And we asked him, so what are you going there for? And he said, I want to line up and try to register my name to get some help. We didn't tell him we were an NGO at that time. We just said, oh, okay, we were just there to meet the municipality. And he said, okay. And then when we got there, we said goodbye. He and his family went to line up to sign up for help. And we went to meet with the district governor there. After our meetings, we called him and say, hey, how are you? Can we come and see you? We just wanted to know a little bit more about life in the city. And so he invited us to see his home. He had pitched a tent outside a relative's house because he also was unable to live in his home again. We can see here it's a UNHCR tent. So we thought, oh, maybe he was getting help from other NGOs. And he said, no. He said, after the earthquake, him and his family walked on the street for over a day until they came across a soldier, and then the soldier gave him this tent, but nothing else. That's why he tried to go to the municipality with his family to line up for some help. And we asked him, okay, so this is quite far from the municipality. He said, how did you go there? He said, they have been walking. So they had walked for 2 hours before they met our car. And if they didn't get a lift from us, they would have to walk another hour. I think this is, in times of disaster, this is what brings us, all of us, closer together, is affinity to help each other. And this young girl we see in the photo, this is his young daughter. The young daughter kept carrying this little bucket around wherever she would go, and with a Barbie doll inside. And when we say, can I have a look? She would hold it even tighter. And I think this is young people trying to hold on to a piece of the past. I think from that moment, the 17/4 on 6th of February, that changed the country, changed the people of that country. And for the young girl, I think she will forever remember that shake, that noise. They said it was like a jet flying across your house. First, it was a very low rumbling, boom, boom, boom, and then suddenly very, very loud rumbling noise just across your room, and the glass started shattering. I think for them, that time before them, that peace before them, was something they were trying to find again in their lives. And we could see this also on their expression. The wife was very devastated. She just was trying to look for help and look for hope, to try to find that peace again, because again, life after the earthquake was being very chaotic. We asked them to show us what their house was like, so they took us to see their house. When we could see that inside their house, everything is gone. They live on the 3rd story, but the exterior wall had collapsed. The wall inside had collapsed. The floors are cracked, and they had nothing inside. They said even after going in and checking their closets and things like that, they said it seems like people even took advantage of the collapsed buildings, and bandits or robbery had happened inside. So a lot of their valuable possessions were gone by the time. This was a few days after the earthquake when they tried to go back inside and have a look. But we can see this building will have to be knocked down. There's no way of rescuing this type of building. They kept searching, asking us if we could help them. At the time, we weren't sure how we could help. We were still under negotiations with the government. So we said, we gave them a hug. And we said we will do everything that we can. And to make relationship and build rapport with the beneficiaries, sometimes it's also very heavy on the heart. But the master says, if you have a will, you must put it into action, and then the right affinities will come. 有愿就有力. So we said, okay, we don't know when we will do the distribution, but give us your ID cards. We will add you to our name list, and we will do everything that we can for you. So immediately there, we took out our phones, log into the system, and we could add them to our name list. And also to give them a little bit of hope to carry on, even though at that time, honestly, we didn't know when we would come back and distribute in this town, or even if we would distribute in this town. But fortunately, I think Master always gives us, if we follow the Master's teaching, the right things will come. About 10 days later, we were able to negotiate with the municipality, find a safe place, and we're able to have our distribution. So we crossed paths with this gentleman and his family again. The expression was completely different. He's holding onto the envelope with our gift cards inside. As young children, the expression had changed. And we asked them, if we could see how they were going to use the gift cards. So they took us shopping immediately after the distribution, and they said to us, thank you so much for letting us buy what we need. He said, since the earthquake, for close to a month, they have been relying on the government or NGO to give them food or give them sustenance. So they had no choice on what they eat. The young children had to eat very spicy, very salty food, which they did not like. Old people with diabetes, the grandpa had diabetes, couldn't eat what he needed. So now finally they were able to buy food that they really need and had a choice and be able to regain control of their life again. And I think this is where Master teaches us that we must be practical and with respect when we deliver aid. And it's not only about what we give, but also how we give that and the impact that has on their lives again. And the young girl was very cute. She said, before we left, she said, thank you, Superman, and thank you, angels. We said, what do you mean? And she said, when we were there standing with mom and dad on the side of the road, very cold, very hungry, very tired from walking up to the municipality, said, your car just came out of nowhere and you all had the blue shirts on, and then you took us into the car, and our life has been different and going up and up since then. So for them, they felt like we were Superman and angel. But for us, it is not only us, but the whole entire Tzu Chi community behind us, giving us support to allow us to send this type of love to the people of Turkey. And so not only the one family, but we saw many, many families after the distribution, immediately they ran to the beam store to try to buy what they need. So we understand really how dire the situation was, but also we felt comfortable that they were able to have what they need. So in the cities that had beam stores, this is what we saw, that people immediately went to buy what they need. In the cities that didn't have beam stores anymore, they went to nearby cities. And actually the beam store, the head office itself, is now sending mobile vans with groceries to go into the towns where Tzu Chi has distributed to try to help these people. So it's also about working with the local businesses to also restart the economy and hopefully find put life back on the right track again. For us, working in the disaster region, like I've shared, it's actually quite heavy on our hearts as well. We eat our Su Ching instant rice every day when we're in the field, and there's a little bit of how we set up our rice. Everyone knows cold water or hot water works. We're eating this rice close to 0 degrees Celsius. Usually it's 1, 2, 3 degrees Celsius during the day. And I think the hardest thing is when you're eating this rice and you're seeing around you completely damaged buildings, people still in tents. You learn to be very grateful for what we have. We learn to understand we are eating rice, but people out there don't even know what their next meals are. And it gives us a more, I think, energy and strength to do what we can for other people. Eat our rice and we move on to do our work. Also to contemplate about cherishing what we have, to remind us how fragile we are, that we could be like them one day and lose everything overnight. And But I think what warms our heart there was, I remember the distributions became more every single day. We were going to different cities for distributions. We had to stay quite far away from the cities for safety reasons. So every day it was 2 hours at least to get to these cities. So long time hours in the car, long hours in the field. But every day when we come home, we would look at Tzu Chi Facebook page, Dai News, and we would see brothers and sisters like yourselves around the world fundraising. So 45 countries around the world and we could see everyone bending over at your waist, holding the donation box. And we said, what we are doing on the field, I think, is much easier because we're there just giving. You are there asking. Asking is always harder than giving. So I want to also take this opportunity to thank all the brothers and sisters who have been working in the back in your countries to try to support our program. And believe me, there we all appreciate it a lot. It really seeing images of you working hard alongside of us in different, doing the same thing, but in different ways at different times, but on the same path really warmed our heart and kept us going in that very cold and harsh environment as well. We also took some video of the beneficiaries for them to say a few words to everyone as well. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to put this in English, so I will show everyone. So this is a family that we worked with in Hatay as well. They took us to their home. You can see how heavily destroyed his home was, completely collapsed, and they actually just pitched tents beside their house. And we talked to them and we said, so how are you going to rebuild that house? And he said, I don't know, but thank you for coming into our lives. You don't need to give us anything because your presence is the biggest gift. So thank you very much, and may God's will be with you. And it's the same when we go across the different towns. This is another family. His house is still intact, but it's too dangerous to live in. We can see the cracks in the walls that are also affecting the gas pipes and the electric wire as well. And we invite, many of them are staying in the streets. Not that their house is too dangerous to stay in, but they're too scared ever to stay in a concrete or building again. They all say the same. For us, the gift is not important. Most importantly is you come from Taiwan bringing this love to support us. It makes us very happy that mankind is there giving help to each other. So thank you from coming to Taiwan. Thank you for bringing this type of belief and faith back into our lives again. This is our distribution there in Nuadog, one of the most devastated areas. And even though it was a very open space, but it was very peaceful and calm. And eventually you see people come in and they were able to give us a very peaceful distribution. We'll give them a handshake, give them a hug. And here, this lady that we see, one is our volunteer who's Syrian, one is the Turkish lady. And she's saying she's so touched because when Turkey opened its border to allow the Syrians to come in, now they're like one family. She's Syrian, but the Syrians are helping Turkish people now. In fact, actually in Turkey, when we were there, this image is very, very rare to see. Most of the Turkish people felt like the Syrian people coming to their country have been competing for resources, making life even harder, making jobs even harder to find. So they despise the Syrian people. But through what Master teaches us, that love crosses no borders, and we are able to touch people's life and join the different cultures together, they are able also to change in their hearts as well. So we were very touched to see the Turkish community acknowledge our Syrian volunteers. And also our Syrian volunteers, I think at this moment, they finally felt they were part of the Turkish nation as well. Otherwise, they always felt they were a foreign guest and people that were unwanted. But I think through this action of working together, not differentiating whether you're Turkish, you're Syrian, you are Taiwan, you are USA, you're Australian, but together, coming together to help each other at this time. This is us performing one family on stage together at a distribution. At the end, we were very surprised. The song was in Chinese. We were doing Tzu Chi sign language, which is not normally understandable. But at the end of this, people gave us a standing ovation, and we were so shocked. And all of us cried on the stage because we never thought it could have an impact like this. So I think it shows to us, never underestimate what we do. If we do it for the right reasons, with the right mindset, every little bit can create a massive impact that we cannot underestimate. And again, I think we have to talk about our volunteers. Our Syrian brothers and sisters come from Syria to this country. Over the past 10 years, Syria has been in a civil war that has killed over 600,000 people. More than 12 million people had to escape out of their country, and many of them to the nearby country, which is Turkey, right on the border. As you saw earlier in the map, this area where the earthquake occurred actually is very close to the Syrian border. So these provinces where the earthquake struck was where many of our volunteers actually escaped to when they came out of Syria. This was the doorway between Syria and Turkey. So they had stayed in these cities in the first days when they became refugees in Turkey. So they had this type of attachment to this place, but they wanted to come back and help. They said now they're safe, they wanted to come and help this place. Even though inside we could feel they had that internal conflict of Turkey and Syria, but we kept telling them at this time we cannot differentiate. Master tells us great love does not differentiate because disaster does not differentiate. And for them, what we learn from them is the strength of faith. Myself, I'm Buddhist, but I don't think compared to them, my faith is as strong. Every day they have 5 prayers, no matter where they are, whether they are roadside, whether they are after the distribution, whether at night they have worked for more than 16 hours already, they carry out their prayers religiously. This is 4:30 in the morning before we had to go out to a distribution. They still do their prayers. And we asked them, so what do you pray for in your prayers every day? They said, pray for more strength. Pray for more help for the people. Pray that the people who have been affected by the earthquake can have a better life. And it's not only the prayer that they help, they are giving everything that they have. They are refugees to this country. Many of them do not have the right to work. Many of them do not even have the right to receive proper education. This is Brother Ahmed Janed. He's 26 years old. He escaped out of Syria when he was 17. His father sent him out of Syria because they wanted him to complete his high secondary school education. So he gave him his school bag and some clothes and his school books, and then he ran out of Syria into Turkey to try to look for a school to finish his education, because in Syria, the war has stopped all forms of education. But by the time he got into Turkey, he realized that he had no money to survive on. Living conditions were much more challenging and difficult compared to what he imagined. So he started working in shoe factories, working for pennies to try to sustain his living costs. So he never actually, for 2 years, got back into school until he met Su Ching. He was close to 20 years old already when he met us. And then we took him into our Su Ching school for him to finish his secondary school education. And then we have Sister Fatima, who is actually a volunteer also from Syria. She works as a cleaner in our school, but she actually lost her brother and his entire family in the earthquake. So she really wanted to come and serve as a volunteer. She said, coming to the provinces destroyed by the earthquake, I feel I'm closer to my brother. I wanted to say words to my brother that I could not, so I can only say it to these people who survived the earthquake, these survivors. I want to make them feel stronger, and I hope all of this work that I do, the merit of this work, can go to my brother, and I beg that Allah gives him a place in heaven to receive him and his family. So for her, it was actually very challenging to serve in the environment, to see people who survived the earthquake when her brother did not. But for her, she said she found strength by serving and working with each of these survivor families, because then she knew that she could be closer to her brother and also help her brother as well. But it is not only these volunteers who come to work in the disaster region with us, but also passing on the love. Like Brother Janet, maybe we don't have time for the video, but I'll show everyone a little bit of this. Brother Janet, and this is, we went and see him, and he told us this is the books that he took out from Syria to bring into Turkey, and he thanked us for giving him his scholarship, and he said he will want to give every penny back to Tzu Chi so that Tzu Chi can help more people. He said he learned so much from Tzu Chi, gained so much from Tzu Chi. He'd been noting down in his notebook how much money he received from Tzu Chi every single week and month. And he said he will one day pay back this money to help Tzu Chi, to help more people. And in fact, this is what he did this time. Not only did he donate some money towards the charity relief, but he came and served on the team for more than 20 days. He still had university courses, but he said, it's okay, my education now can wait because I know I can receive it. But these people who need help cannot, so I must come and help Tzu Chi. And he was one of the few volunteers who spoke Arabic, Turkish, and English. So he became pivotal to our relief team to help us out. So it's people like him, people like Sister Fatima, who has strength, and they were a role model to us as well. When we felt tired, when we felt lost, we looked to them and they were still working hard. So we could not give up either. And we had to work side by side with them as well. But the young children in Ilmana Hill in our Tzu Chi school also were a sign of courage and hope as well. They would do the drawings. They would draw what they felt the earthquake was like and send these drawings to the provinces for us to give to people to show that they were with them as well. And they would do bamboo bank fundraising as well. And at the end of the day, when we counted the bamboo, it's not only the money that we saw inside. Children that maybe did not have the money would draw love hearts and cut them out and put them in the box as well. I think it shows us that we all have the ability to give love, but it is only, we just have to put our thoughts into action. Don't underestimate what we have. I think for them in Turkey, the road to recovery is still very, very long. For them, really, at this stage, many of them still live in the tents. They don't really know what's next and how they would regain their health again. The foundation, as Tzu Chi, we are finishing our distributions to over 40,000 families by the end of March. Now they are going into a period called Ramadan, which is every month, once a month, every year, they have fasting. It's a festive of fasting. So from sunrise to sundown, the Islamic faith, people believe in Islamic faith, they don't eat and don't drink. That includes sipping on water and even eye drops as well. They cannot use any liquid, any form of food. So imagine that for the disaster affected people and also for our volunteers. So since 2 days ago, Ramadan started. So our volunteers have been working hard to give help to these people so that when they can eat, they do have food to eat, but also to close the distribution so that everyone receives the aid as soon as possible. We're also evaluating how we could perhaps do reconstruction of schools and homes in Turkey after the earthquake, but the government still have its policies that we have to negotiate and overcome as well. But I think leaving Turkey after 1 month there, the image of these collapsed buildings, one pile on top of the other, and people sitting in front of their homes in despair. I think this will never leave my memory in my lifetime. I will always remember them for what they are, but I will also always remember how strong these people are. They never give up on hope, and they are such a strong people. And I think we must, if we are able to walk with them, one person, one step at a time. I think Brother Bao Ru's song, he shared with us, beyond high mountain and deep water, we will cross with you. And I think that is the mentality that we try to have when we're serving this disaster region. And I think in the long journey in the future, it is not days or months that we're counting for these people to gain their homes. The houses will come, but I think the mental health scars will take a long time to heal. But if we are there, if Tzu Chi is there, we'll walk them one step at a time to help them recover as well. Like Master says, to help this society, to help this world, perhaps it is not this lifetime, it is life after life. but if we can group together as fireflies, every small effort can have a powerful impact. So I think for us who are in a safe place, and for us who have returned from there, if we must try to always remember the people who are in suffering, hold them dear in our hearts, and continue to share this information with our people around us, continue to accumulate more love to support these people, because they really will need it for a long time going forward. So I hope my sharing today was able to take everyone to understand a little bit of what we felt in Turkey and the life of people in Turkey and how they're still feeling at this moment. And also I hope that all of us can still continue to pay attention, as even international news has moved away to other events. But if we can always show our compassion to the people who are still in need, and continue to gather and accumulate love to support us, their efforts in recovering and finding their homes again. So thank you everyone for your time this morning. Very much appreciate the opportunity to share with our English community online again. Cảm ơn.
Awesome sharing, mate. Thank you for bringing us through this devastating double earthquake. I think that you term it, all these buildings are completely destroyed. It's quite impossible. I think you have appropriately came up with the term concrete sandwiches. Really, is beyond our imagination. I think you have seen it with your own eyes. I think through you, I think we have see this these buildings. I think it's impossible for people to escape. All these so badly damaged building. And Karen, so much for bringing channeling all these aids and hope and love to all these survivors. And really, love does not need words. And you and the team are really, the courageous Superman and Superwoman, representing all of us here. Yeah, utmost Karen, Brother Johnson, for the great work. And okay, I think we have in fact exceeded our session a little bit, but I think we love the story. We're so touched by the wonderful stories that you have shared. And then we can see Sister Su Ching and Sister Effie now is on the way to the Uluyam or old folks home now. I think that we have a session there as well later. Okay, Kanan, so much, brothers and sisters. So we will pay homage to Buddha and Sangren together now. Okay, please rise. First bow, second bow, and third bow. Kanan so much, everyone. Kanan, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Kanan for joining us.